So let's take a look and review this Hotpoint Smart Tech 7 kilo 1400 spin A++ energy rated washing machine. So it comes standard with 7 kilo load, 1400 spin, A++ energy, A wash rated and B spin. But there's a couple of differences from the previous generations that turned this into what it is, and it's very good. Right, so we have a standard inset drum in there with the standard paddles with its wide opening 34cm door. For some, this has been kept rather clean. There's no mould on the actual seal inside, but there is mould here on the outside here. Now all I'm just thinking is that there's been water on the actual door, which then gets trapped and has created mould. But other than that, it's really been kept rather well. The door's a bit mucky still, but we'll gloss over that. It's not very old, it's only about 2 years old. However, like with all Hotpoint doors, this handle breaks easy. It's rather cheap to replace and rather quick to fix, but it's just something to be aware of. They got rid of it simply because they couldn't be bothered to wait around. So I've put a new handle on, and they've got a new candy, which I actually thought, no, they would have been better off this Hotpoint being fixed. Anyway, so, and what's even more weird is that this is graphite and they had a white candy. So let's take a look at the top control panel. We'll start by turning it on. You have to wait a couple of seconds. Kicks in, there we go. And we've got our time displayed over here. If we press start, if you select a program, it will bring up these indicators. Now these indicators indicate wash, rinse, spin and drain. And basically, if I just turn this over here to spin, you'll notice that spin and drain are the only ones lit up. It's basically stating the stages of the cycle that it will perform. Likewise again with rinse, see? You've got rinse, spin and drain. And if we go to silk, you've got wash, rinse and just drain because there's no spin. We've got a variable temperature button here, we've got a variable spin button, a delay start of 24 hours. And I'm going to go through these in a minute. So I'm going to turn to program 3. So we've got a temperature button here. On program 3, our cotton standard 60. When it sets at 60 degrees on this mode, this is the standard energy cycle for this machine. So this will get you A++ energy rating as well as A wash performance. Right, so we've got temperature. It's preset at 60. On this program, if on this machine, if you want a 90-degree cycle, you have to cycle around on the temperature on cotton standard 60 to get to 90 degrees. And you're going to watch it in a minute and watch it drop. Time. There we are, 2 hours 40. And that's the other thing. So our variable temperature gives us choices of 90, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20 and cold. Our variable spin button gives us a choice of 1400, 1200, 1000, 800, 600, 500, 400 and finally off, no spin. We've got 2 options here. We've got extra rinse, which will add on 1 more stage rinse apart from the wool cycle where we add on 2. And we've got easy iron, which if you notice the spin's flashed because it's actually lowered the spin to 600 RPM. That will also change, it will add on an extra rinse usually and change the spin profile between the rinses as well. The final spin has several stages rather than one stage. Finally, we've got this smart button and we've got Auto Plus, which is actually just normal. Performance Plus, which is extra water within the wash and an extra rinse and lots of other things. Then we've got Speed Plus, which drops the time while still maintaining a good wash result. we've also got auto clean if you press extra rinse and easy iron together for several seconds. And then finally we've got this key lock, which when activated means you can't change the buttons. But you can still turn it off on key lock. Anyway, I'll go through the programs. So we've got anti-stain at 40. This will allow half a load, roughly maybe 4 or 5 kilo, to be washed, and it will get rid of 100 stains only at 40 degrees. And that's because at certain temperature stages, the temperature is held at that stage for several minutes. White is allows you to wash a full load, but of whites, instead of boil washing them, it washes them at 60, it gets them perfectly white, bright white. And again, this does it by holding the temperature at 60 and at 40 as well. Right, another thing you need to take note, if you press the easy iron button, for example, let me just turn it over here, and then we move on to another program, and the easy iron button then comes off, like on whites, the spin will not reset. So the spin will stay at 600 RPM where it's limited on that program you have selected easy iron, but then when we go round, you'll notice it goes up to 1400. The other thing you need to take into account is this. If you select a different temperature, if we lower the temperature to 40 to 30 for example, then we move on to a program where the temperature is actually hotter, so therefore we've gone from cotton standard 40 to set at 30, cotton standard 60, it's now preset at 30, and this is the annoying thing about this machine. You have to make sure that those settings are selected. It's same with the smart button over here. If you select Performance Plus and then you move on to another program, it still selects Performance Plus. So, right, that's something to watch out for. Anyway, program 3 has a multitude of, actually more than just one program. If it's set to 60 degrees, you get the cotton standard 60 with A++ energy rating. If you select 40, you get a nice coloured cycle at 40 degrees. If you select 90 degrees, you get a boil wash. So it gives you all three. And I'll just quickly show you. It's for 90, Performance Plus adds on half an hour, and Speed Plus takes off about 15 minutes. So cotton standard 40, again we have to be careful because now Speed Plus is selected. Speed Plus again has changed, so it's like 2 hours rather than nearly 3 hours. Yeah. This again gives you A++ energy rating at 40 degrees. So your wash is actually about 30 degrees instead. We have your synthetic cycle, which goes up to 60 degrees. We've got an anti-allergy plus, which adds on several rinses and holds the temperature at 60 as well. Again, that's for a full load. We've got baby care, which is set for 2 hours 25, so it's much longer than the previous generations. This holds the temperature at different stages, much like anti-stain, but it has a limited final spin of 1000 RPM for your delicate baby clothes, but without actually letting them bleed either. So it also washes in more water to allow the detergent to dissolve. Pretty good program, but my downside with it is that I'd rather have a hotter temperature, because of course babies, get really mucky. Right, finally we've got bed and bath at 60 degrees and you get a full 1400 spin. This allows you to wash bedding and towels together, though I do not recommend it. However, I do recommend you can put bedding in one load, towels on the other, and use the same program. It's much shorter than the normal cotton cycles. So what it does, it does a good wash with a little bit more water than normal, and does 3 rinses as standard, quite low level rinses, but it allows the water to get rich with detergent and drains and stuff like that. It allows you to wash up to a full load as well, so it's pretty good. Right, Fast Wash 60. I'm going to put a proviso on it because I've not used the modern version, but the previous generations now come quite good, and it is now an hour. But I've noticed that if you change the temperature on Fast Wash 60 on this, the actual time doesn't go down. So it's a bit unusual. It's the first one I've ever used where Fast Wash 60, whilst the temperature is reduced at 40 or 30, the temperature doesn't go down. Don't know why. It allows to wash a half load, maybe more, and of lightly soiled clothes up to 60 degrees, and you get a final fast spin of 1400 RPM. So it's really good for cotton stuff. Fast Wash 30, also known as Mixed 30, allows you to wash mixed fabrics of synthetics and cotton together that are lightly soiled, and you can wash 3 kilo in 30 minutes. It has a slow spin of 800 RPM. Cotton standard 20 degrees is basically part of the standard programs of cotton, so you get able to wash a full load. To be honest, I only sort of recommend it really for darks only, and that's it, for nothing else. Like, I only know literally for tops and jeans, and that's the only thing I can think of. Temperature set at 20, you can adjust it to cold, and then your spin's also at maximum. Weirdly, watch this, you got Performance Plus, which I've done half an hour, is normal, but Speed Plus, look how much time that drops. An hour 20. Now that is very, very similar to the time that it used to be on the cotton standard, on the cotton programs with like Eco Wash or something like that back in the past. Whether it does the same kind of cleaning action as that or very similar pattern, I don't know, but we could test it out, I suppose. So shirts allows you to wash up to 2 kilo shirts, so it's quite a lot, probably about 10 shirts, at up to 40 degrees, and has a easy iron kind of final spin, sort of, but easy iron's still also available in this anyway, which will have a rinse hold function anyway within it, and a constant anti-crease at the end. Then we've got wool at 40, and this gets the wool hand wash safe mark from Woolmark. Not platinum, not gold, green. Don't know why, don't ask me. So this washes at a distribution action. We usually do 4 rinses. If you select extra rinse on this, you get 6. Delicate, slightly misleading because you can't actually do, it's no final spin. It's basically for washing lingerie, silk items, curtains and stuff like that, and that's about it. If you're washing normal delicate stuff that can be spun, just use synthetics at 40 degrees. We've got an additional rinse and spin. This is a cotton rinse and final spin. You get 2 rinses on this, followed by final spin. You can select extra rinse and get 3 instead. And then finally we've got spin only, which only takes 10 minutes and goes up to full fat spin of 1400 RPM. I've used it when I first initially tested it, and it actually is 10 minutes long as well. It is actually pretty spot on. Bit of a hold on that on-off button there. During the cycle, if you want to turn it off, you have to press and hold the button for 3 seconds. Then we will count down on the display 3, 2, 1 before it switches off. Right, so we're going to put this little load of towels in. So the final thing, we've got our door is now locked, and this is now flashing. When this flashes, it's detecting the size of the load that's been placed in it, as this has variable load. This means you can wash anywhere from 1 to the full load, and it will adjust accordingly. We're washing a relatively small 1 to 2 kilos, but the towels are already wet. It detects the load size by how much water is taken on within the first several minutes of the wash cycle. Then it will adjust the wash parameters, such as how it tumbles, how long to tumble for, how long the main wash will be, how many rinses, how high the rinses will be, and so forth, according to that wash load has been detected. Of course, like I said, the downside is if the towels are already wet, like we've got, they're not soaking wet, so it'll take on a bit more water, it will miscalculate, so you can end up with poor wash results. But this is the only slight downside to having variable load, and it's pretty unavoidable on most modern machines anyway. Right. Come on, Matthews. Let's go get this. Come on then. You can come in now then. sparkly clean. Very nice. Hold on. Right, so what are my overall thoughts on this machine? It's not bad actually. The motor's quite raspy and noisy, and like I said, when you're changing between the different cycles, you gotta make sure that your temperature and your spin have reset to the maximum, otherwise you could end up starting it with the wrong parameters by accident. Washing ability wise, it's really good. Hotpoint massively steps up the mark over the years. Rinsing ability is also quite good as well, and its new load sensor is a lot better than it used to be, which means there is an overall improvement. The annoyances though, the build quality of the machine is a little bit poor, to be honest. The handle snaps a bit too easily and it's all a bit too common. The draw design of that curved draw is still quite annoying, even though it's a lot better than what it used to be. And, well, I hate to say it, but the bearings are still sealed in and they're not, to be honest, they've not changed over the last 9 years, so to be honest, once it's past the 6-year mark, they're generally okay. So long as you look after the machine, it's not going to be a bad machine, apart from that door handle, of course. So overall, what shall I give this out? A 10 and 8. There's some improvement there to go forward with. We're not quite there yet, but saying that, it's not an overall bad machine.